Alright, today we're going to talk about con artists and scammy sales tactics and how to spot them. And we're going to use Weiss Schwarz as an example again. And I'm going to show you a clip as an example first. And I'm pretty sure we've seen this all over the internet at some point.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here.
And then when you think about it, you're like, how did these idiots fall for this? And what the hell is this, right? And then let's just relate this back to card games and Weiss Schwarz and collectibles in general.
Here in my garage, just bought this
graded Albedo, graded Mai, and this $2,000 Roxy. That's now the set record price. And then when you make this connection, you see the similarities between them and all these like fake financial gurus on top of mixed with these like stonks investors that moved from Pokemon into Weiss. You see a lot of these like same kind of scummy sales tactics that they use. And when I mean fake financial gurus, you see it all over social media. You see these like 18, 20-year-olds that are always talking about how you could stop working, get rich quick, quit your day job. Anyone that works like actual jobs are chumps. There's all these like get rich quick things like crypto, NFTs, and all these other things. And it's the same type of scummy people that come into these collectibles that try to pump it up and try to scam people. And with Weiss, it's also a very specific example where it's really easy where if they scam at least one person, then because these cards are so lucrative where they're talking about how, oh, this card's worth $15,000, $10,000, $20,000. If they scam you even once and they bought the item for like a couple $100 or less than that, then they would have made their money back. But where does that leave the person that ends up buying it? Because they fell into all these like scammy sales tactics that hyped up a market that didn't even exist to begin with. And I use this as an example because all of these people that are trying to pump the market, they're in all the different markets like Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, MetaZoo, and all these other card games that are trying to be considered investments. And they move from market to market and they have their hand in all of it. And between all of them, you'll see that they use this same type of like persona where they try to act all friendly and camouflage with the community. And then they all do the same thing where they show off like, oh, check it out, guys. I just bought this, like, the Holy Grail. This is the Holy Grail. The Albedo is the Holy Grail. This Roxy is going to be the Holy Grail. This Mai is going to be the Holy Grail. This Birdcage Yukina that's like $15,000. This is the Holy Grail. And I don't know about you, but the only Holy Grail that I know of is from Fate, and that was a lie, and everyone ends up dying in the end. And I bring these topics up about scummy sales tactics because I previously worked in the finance industry where when you're doing investments, you're pretty much doing sales, right? So I know how to spot these like con artists that just use these buzzwords like Holy Grail, things that like catch people's attention to go like, whoa, maybe they're right. And they use these tactics because it's very, very easy to sway people, right? And I'll use a real life example that everyone can relate to, even me, where I'm pretty sure everyone has bought something like a car at some point where by the end of the deal, they walk out of there thinking, man, I didn't really get a good end of the bargain. How did I end up getting suckered into this? It's because when you run into these like con artists and like kind of dishonest salespeople, which is pretty much what these like investors and people hyping up these graded cards and these Holy Grail cards are, they're pretty much trying to use all these like things to distract you from what they're actually doing. Again, I constantly mention, because not everyone watches all the videos, right? I constantly mention, beware of whenever people try to bring hype and attention to these things. They'll try to camouflage it as saying, oh, not for sale, not for trade, but check this out. I just bought this for $10,000, $20,000, $15,000. And when you pay attention to it, you'll notice these are the same people when you look in again and again, right? They're selling Pokemon, they're selling Yu-Gi-Oh!, they're talking about Flesh and Blood, all these other markets that they're trying to hype up and stuff. At the end of the day, they're not interested in these things. They're trying to drum up the price of whatever they're invested into and whatever they bought into so that they could sell it to you as a sucker at the high inflated prices when they bought it at a low price. And I'll use another real life example to why you should avoid falling for people trying to hype up certain cards. And have you ever been to like a store or walk by like a street and always you see the same stores going out of business, closing, final sale, 80%, 90% off. You should buy now before everything gets sold out, right? relate that back to how people keep trying to make posts about how expensive this Roxy card is, how it's $2,000. Oh no, we set the new market price. It just sold for $1,600 and things like that. Be very careful about these people that are trying to drum up interest, because you see like examples of how someone bought 3 copies of a card and then afterwards no one else is selling them, right? No one has bought these for these prices. So everyone's like, Some people are skeptical, but then when no one's buying, you see all these idiots come out of the woodwork saying, oh, guys, check out the new market price. Check out on eBay, it's sold for this much. Be very careful, because especially on platforms like eBay, there's a lot of shill bidding and a lot of shill sales that people could just refund the item and bought it on a different account. It doesn't mean that these sales are real and that's like a market price of what it's going to be worth. Especially on eBay as well too, you have to be very, 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 very careful. So don't fall for these idiots trying to drum up interest and drive up the price and make you think that these sales are real and a legitimate way of judging it. First of all, when it comes to eBay sales and release prices, there's always some idiot that pays like a really high price, and it's been proven in every single market when a new item comes out, especially if there's a lot of scalpers, what the scalpers do is they shill bid and shill buy their own items to try to set a market price, and you'll always notice that, let's say you only see one sale of this Roxy right now, afterwards, most people would not buy it, and what these people are hoping for is that they set the market price so some other sucker is going to think, oh, someone bought it for $1,700. That means that that's the market price, so I'm going to buy on $1,300, $1,400 on TCG Player, and I'll flip it for a profit. Remember, every single one of my videos, especially when it comes to Weiss Schwarz, I point out that when it comes to Weiss Schwarz, the number of actual large sales over $3,000-$4,000 that's actually realized on sites like eBay where there's tracking history, there's only been under 5. Let's say the Albedo graded one, only 2 have actually sold. So do not let that think that that's actually what the real price is. In this case, the Roxy card only sold once. There is no way that it sold once and that is what the market price is, especially with how it could easily be manipulated. And you see people buying like 3 copies of the Roxy TD on TCG Player, and then afterwards no one else has bought it. Every single Weiss card that costs a lot of money, you'll notice there's only minimal sales and it doesn't happen. And when you see it on Facebook or wherever it is on social media in the groups, if they say, oh, pending sale or sold, unless you're actually shown like, okay, these are the people that actually bought it, anyone could typically just say, oh, I sold it for $1,500, and then they didn't actually sell it, and then later on they're gonna list more, and oh look, another one came along under a different name, a different person is selling it, and because everyone's like, oh, that's the market price now, so I better buy it now at $1,300, when previously no one was willing to buy it at these prices. And these sales tactics work everywhere outside of card games because people fall for it and it's proven to work, because that's how people end up buying things that they didn't care for to begin with. Because, example again, they're driving up interest in these specific items, and then everyone's just like, oh man, that's sold for $1,700, now that it's selling for $1,300 somewhere else, I better buy that quick because that's a steal. And then time and time again, I mentioned, you're gonna end up buying this card, or like what, that other card for like $15,000, the Birdcage Yukina, or whatever other card that's like $10,000-$20,000, right? You're gonna end up buying these cards because you fell into the hype, because these con men are pretty much scamming people and try to, rope you into it, and then you end up buying things that you didn't really care about and you didn't really want to be that badly to begin with. Outside of them driving up interest and then hyping it up, you probably were thinking, I don't think I want it for that much money. And I'll relate this back to scammy like financial gurus and all these like scammy sales tactics. What these people do is they go on social media, they go on YouTube websites, they talk about how, oh, you could get this for free, all this free information, I'll tell you. And then it slowly ramps up, right? They slowly rope you in and they start talking about, oh, if you buy into my course, then I'll teach you how to do this. And then when you buy into the course, you realize is completely garbage. But then, oh, there's more. There's another tier that you could. It's like turns more and more into some sort of like pyramid scheme type thing. Where at that point, once you're so invested in, you're like, oh man, if I already put this much money into it, then if I back out now, then I'm an idiot. So I can't admit that I'm an idiot. So it's either go for broke and go all in, right? And then we tie into Weiss Schwarz, and you see how it starts from small, like, oh, I'm a member of the community, not for sale, not for trade, and all this stuff, ha ha ha. Try to make friends and all this other stuff, and try to show yourself as a reputable member. And then what's gonna happen? The scams and all these like sales tactics slowly ramp up. Oh, next is not for sale, not for trade. I'm grading these cards. Check how cool it is. You know, no one really pays attention, and everyone's like, oh, that's cool. And then next is, oh, what's it next? Oh, now it's, oh, well, check this out, guys. I got a new piece of my collection. This is the Holy Grail. If you guys don't know about it, let me just show you guys how this is the Holy Grail, and let me talk about how rare this item is. And then what happens next after that escalates? Oh, then you start seeing that same Holy Grail that person talked about how rare it is. So you see behind the scenes, they picked up all these things that they're talking about, drumming up interest on what they're talking about. And then you start seeing sales of these on eBay, on wherever else, right? Oh, suddenly you start seeing all these Holy Grails popping up on eBay for these prices. And then again, tying back to how they roped these in. Oh, look, there's one sale of it in the Facebook groups. That means that this is the market price, $5,000 for Albedo. This is a steal. If someone sells a raw one for less, then I could grade it, and I could sell it for $5,000. You make the connection, right? But yeah, I don't know. I could probably go on and point out every single scummy sales tactics that I see in these Facebook groups, as well as like in Weiss in general. And it's just disgusting to me, because at the end of the day, they're being dishonest and they're trying to trick people. Who even raised these people to do these things? It's just kind of disgusting, right? And I see it because I've been in the sales industry, where in my industry, I was like in the top 10% of pretty much the whole country. And I've seen all these type of slimy salespeople, and some of them succeed because, you know what, people just end up falling for it because they sugarcoat everything and they use all these things to distract honest people who trust other people to be honest. You know, you look at someone saying, oh, you know what, I sold my card for this much money. And then because you're an honest person, then you're going to take their word for it and that they're not lying to you, right? But behind all the scenes, especially with these eBay sales and stuff like that, there's people shill bidding, fake sales. They buy it and then they just return it, but it still shows up at a sale. You know, things like this you have to be very, very careful of. And a lot of times you can't judge people by their appearance, right? They might be like, oh, wearing suits, they look like well presented, and you're like, oh man, that guy looks like someone I could trust, as opposed to like someone with like an anime profile picture, or someone that just looks like a regular dude. And you know, they might act all friendly and stuff like that, but you have to just like consider things and take a step back, especially when you see all these ridiculous prices and you see these people constantly trying to drum up attention to certain things. It's kind of like with like NFTs and crypto and all these scams associated with, right? And you see on social media all these people saying how, oh, you could quit your day job and all these things and get rich quick. Anytime you see something where someone's always trying to pull you a certain way, you always have to take a step back and think, maybe there's more to it. But yeah, that's all for today. Remember, at the end of the day, use the sales data. Look at the amount of sales that are done. Whenever you see only 1 or 2 sales for a certain price, that is not the market price. And you have to be very, very careful. Don't ever fall into hype. If you see people bringing attention to certain cards, that's when you should avoid those certain cards. Do not let these people drum up the price just based on hype because they're trying to profit from it. These markets are being manipulated, and you have to be very, very, very careful. But yeah, I'll probably try to point out a lot of these scams as I go along if I see them, or if you see something that you find interesting, then you can let me know and point it out for me, and I'll kind of do like a deep dive on it. But thank you for watching, and thank you everyone that's been subscribing. Have a good day.